Long day lay low. Hey, welcome. Get to know your creator. Sorry, it's a little. Normally we're on time, and also I hit the live button, and I couldn't find the intro. Because that's the intro, the determination. Because we are determined here in Comicsgate and in Indie Comics to get comics fulfilled, funded, and out into your hands. Hopefully in a timely manner. And today we have a great creator, but without further the gilly the nillies, we have our lovely co-host, the great Angela Curry. What's going on, Angela?
Not much. How are you doing today, Jason?
Oh, so fantastic! It rained today, so I thought it cooled things down a little, but I was like, oh, I'll turn my fan off because the fan has the background noise and people can hear it, and so I was like, and I turned it off, and I'm like, it actually kind of warm right now, even though it did rain. So
yeah, whatever. I'm a fan too, so I hope it's not bothering you because we have sun.
Oh,
it's
I can't hear it.
It's 78 degrees here in rainy Seattle. So
it's rainy Seattle. So yeah. Well, cool. And we have a great guest today. He's a friend. I've known him a while, and it kind of weird. It's not weird, but it's weird doing these things with people you've known for a long time because you're like you already know them, but you're like still asking them questions. So we're gonna do it though because we're gonna be talking about his next project, his current project, and also, as everyone knows, fun stuff. And if we're watching on Facebook, please hit that like button. Also, go subscribe to us on YouTube as well as Michael Odin on his channel 9 Realms Publishing. And here he is, Michael.
Woo! Please subscribe to my YouTube channel and join the one of 3 people that watch my history stream.
Hey, I check them out from time to time, okay? I may not comment all the time, but I lurk. They're fun.
I did see you in the chat, like I want to say like 2 weeks ago on One in Rome, I think was when you were on.
Yeah, it was the One in Rome's, yeah.
What was that?
You do history streams?
Oh, I am like the history guy.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Yeah, okay, we're gonna get into that. We'll get into that. Yeah.
I literally just yesterday I finished this biography on Belisarius and Antonina, which was really solid. It's written by David Allen Parnell, and he helped Epic History TV with their Belisarius series that they did. And then I'm starting Philip and Alexander by Adrian Goldsworthy, published in 2020, and this has been fantastic so far.
Nice. So that's awesome. Yeah. Everybody go check it out. We'll get into it. We'll get into Odin's channel and stuff like that. And but do we have I see you're in the chat, Angela, but do we have anyone else?
We have Joseph Dredd.
Actually,
yeah.
Joseph Dredd's in the house. Had my Jolly Green. I'm not sure what happened, but he's now Purple J. So
what's going on, Jolly Green?
Jolly Green, what's up? Well, he's late and gay. That's not nice. So we're gonna put hail chat, and then Joseph is here. So hail Joseph.
Yeah, we were late and gay. It's my fault. Oh, we were talking backstage, and time kind of got a little bit away from us. And then I forgot to hit the intro button. So, yo, what's up, Phil?
It'll happen.
Good to see you.
Phil's here, and Citizen Ronan is in the house.
Yo, what's up, Ronan? Yeah, everybody like and subscribe. And by the way, if you don't want to hear us talk at all and you just want to check out the campaign, it's pinned to the top of the chat and in the description below. So if you want to bypass all this garbage, you can get to the nitty gritty, you're feel free to, but stick around, get to know Odin. And like I said, we're streaming on Facebook, so hello, everybody in Facebook land. So and we were talking backstage about Oppenheimer because you are a history buff, as we had talked about.
I just got out of that earlier today, and it might be the most horrifying movie I've ever watched. It is a fantastic film, easily Christopher Nolan's best.
Nice.
Left me hopeless and void, like completely void of hope for humanity. So, great movie. If you're doing the Barbenheimer, see Barbie last because
Jeremy Boots, what's up?
I
was gonna say you had to pick Barbie or Oppenheimer.
I'd probably go see Barbie again. I'm not gonna I've already seen Barbie before. I called Neff on my way back from Oppenheimer, and I'm like, yeah, I have a buddy that I was supposed to see this with today, and they couldn't make it, and I'm gonna have to straight up tell them like, look, I'm fine to see this again, but you need to give me 3 weeks.
Oh, jeez.
Like, you need to give me 3 weeks thoroughly process this and like get in the right headspace, because if I see that again too soon, I'm going to be in an all kind of like depressive mood, and I don't want to do that.
Well, yeah, I hear
Like,
it kind of does hit you pretty hard. So
oh, dude, the last so the way the narrative is structured is the last hour is where they hit you with like a runaway ice cream truck
nice
with everything, and it is
Nice.
nonstop. It is absolutely brutal, and the final moments of the film are objectively horrifying.
Wait, are you talking about Barbie or Oppenheimer?
What's that, Angela?
Are you talking about Barbie or Oppenheimer?
That was Oppenheimer. Barbie, I had a blast with.
You said ice cream truck, so then I thought, well, that could be Barbie, because I think there is a Barbie ice cream Barbie, but I don't know.
No, there is an ice cream Barbie. So like Barbie was at like, yes, it is very like left leaning progressive feminism and what have
hardcore
you.
From what I hear. Yeah.
It does so in a very clever and fun way. And they definitely poke jabs at like inconsistencies with their own narratives and everything like that. Like I think its probably biggest weakness is its meta narrative is not something that's going to appeal to the target demographic of Barbie the way that Lego successfully did with the Lego movie a few years back. But I really enjoyed Barbie. It was a funny movie. I went and I saw it with my sister at an Alamo draft house. We had drinks, food. Nice. It was a great experience, and I really wish I had seen Oppenheimer before it, so I could like have the joyful experience to kind of be like, there is some light in the world. But now I'm here and I'm talking with you guys, so that should do the trick too.
That's true, yeah. But you know what? And like I hear variations and opinions, especially with both of those movies. Actually, like obviously, like. But here's the thing, and what I always get at, like, people have talked about the Indiana Jones movies, and how many of the like big critics, like the YouTube critics that have pretty decent opinions, they all hated it, and then I hear from my friends that they actually liked it. Like they were like, I don't see what these guys are seeing.
I saw Dial of Destiny, and is it an amazing movie? No,
one of them that was
Like I thought it was okay,
right?
And a lot of the complaints people had about Indiana Jones, I was like, actually, a lot of this stuff from a narrative standpoint makes sense. Like it's the 1960s, the space race has started, and rocket science is like the sexy new science, and archaeology, which had been the sexy hot topic science of the 20th century, had started to go away. So he is a person that in pretty much every shape of the word has become a relic in his era. Mm-hmm. He's studying a field of science that's no longer the top field. He's an old man that's gone through all of these adventures and is I think rightfully embittered by certain things, as one happens to do when they get older. But he still feels like Indy to me in the majority of the movie, and I was surprised because Phoebe Waller-Bridge's character was promoted as like, oh, she's going to be the do no wrong person that's calling Indiana Jones, and it was actually the opposite. She's kind of Indiana Jones's foil in the film, where she's been misusing her knowledge of history, and Indiana Jones is trying to be like, you're wasting this potential. But that's I honestly felt that stuff worked. There were a lot of things that didn't work for me, namely the fact that you're focusing on like the siege of Syracuse and like all of this. I'm an antiquities guy, so like all of the inaccuracies with that just kept piling up, and like I think that's actually the stream where I saw you, was like when I was going on when I was talking with Matt on One in Rome. I was like they're talking about the code of Polybius and Linear B, and those aren't codes. Polybius is a contemporary historian of the period, and Linear B is the language of the Proto-Greek cultures in the Bronze Age. So it was like
oh, go ahead, keep going.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that, from what I heard from most people, like it's it's an okay movie. Like, it's not their favorite. Like,
Yeah.
obviously, they say it's better than Crystal Skull, but
Yes,
you
I
know,
would
it's
agree
still
with
not
that.
as good as Last Crusade. So like goes one, two,
Yes.
three, and then watch the last one, then Crystal Skull. Just forget about. But yeah, so that's what I hear from a lot of people. But here's another thing also. Like, you would think they would hire historians or for accuracy and
Dude.
stuff like that, as far as like these mistakes might go, to make sure that is at least accurate in some way.
Well,
So
and that's the whole thing that was a bit gut wrenching about it for me, is because in the previous films, yes, there were massive historical inaccuracies, but there was an effort made to make things feel authentic. There was genuine craft put into developing a logical history that might have inaccuracy but feel authentic. And
right.
Dial of Destiny did not do that, in my opinion.
Yeah,
But
I got no.
yeah.
But what?
But that's modern Hollywood for you. I mean, the Napoleon trailer came out, and that looks fucking like that is going to be the next Alexander. I'm calling it right now. It is going to be the next Oliver Stone's Alexander, where the battle sequences and everything like that are going to be great. The drama and the actual narrative of the movie are going to suck and be riddled with overacted performances with terrible dialogue. I am not looking forward to it at all.
Well, who was I talking with about? I think I was talking with Angela. Maybe I can't remember. But we were talking about. Yeah, it was. We were talking. I was talking to Angela, and we were talking about serial killer documentaries, and like they have the Dahmer movie like series on Netflix. But it's like you're taking a lot of liberties with some of that stuff because you weren't there. So whenever you're like speculating how they were acting at a certain point in a room that isn't documented, like you're taking liberties. So you're like
100%
historical movies and stuff like that. Like there is some liberty there. They kind of have to. I mean, it's a movie. It's entertainment.
100% artistic license, and when you're crafting the story, there's absolutely going to be incongruencies and what have you. And I'm not expecting everything to be to the minute details, but like the things that like really were red flags to me in the trailer are, I mean, one, Joaquin Phoenix, great actor.
Great actor.
If you are starting this movie in 1793, Napoleon is 24 years old at the Siege of Toulon in 1793. There is no amount of makeup in the world that can make Joaquin Phoenix, who is 48 going on 60, look 20 years old.
Yeah.
And this is a problem, especially because it is very clear that the movie is trying to also focus on his relationship with Josephine, who is his first wife and is older than him by a decade. So you have these scenes with Joaquin Phoenix with the chick playing Josephine, and she looks like she's in her mid-20s, and he looks 50.
Yeah, I mean, and I get they want like high quality actors to play some of these roles, but you do have to cast according to like their appearance and their looks and everything like that. Like, and I get it. I get what they're trying for, but there's plenty of decent actors that are young that are up and coming that you can get. So
100%, and that's what's frustrating to me is like you guys didn't do that. And then the other big thing was there's a singular line that comes in at like the last minute of the trailer where Josephine chastises Napoleon and says that he would be nothing without her. And I was just like, that is the biggest load of shit on the face of the planet. Because Napoleon Bonaparte, if anything, prevented Josephine from going to the guillotine because she was a widow of the Ancien Regime, and she had almost been put to the guillotine before. And Napoleon was a rising star in the Republican military, and his marriage to her prevented her from being an enemy of the state anymore. So that is just the biggest crock of bullshit that you could have ever put in any film. And if you thought my reaction is bad to this, please go watch this past week's Vive l'Empereur and see Aldous go off on the Napoleon trailer, which was hilarious.
This is what I like also about your streams, your historical streams. That's what I'm calling them, because I mean there's a lot of different ones, but they're an hour long. Like you can just watch the replay if you miss it. Like it's an hour of your day. You can put it on while you're doing dishes or something like that, or whatever in the background, and you could get some entertainment and knowledge at the same time. And what got you into history? Like, were you always into history as you were a little kid, or like did something spark that?
Man. Like it all comes back to my dad. Whenever so my dad was special forces, and so when I was growing up, he was deployed to places all the time. Right. So whenever he would come home, he would like his main bedtime story that he would read to me was this beautifully illustrated, abridged version of the Iliad and the Odyssey.
Ooh, nice.
And that's where it really started, and that's where like my love of mythology, history, all of that stems from, and that's obviously like developed over the years. I'm very big on antiquities. I also have a sizable base knowledge on the history of late 18th and early 19th century France, specifically on the topics of French Revolution and Napoleonic warfare, and like some solid cursory knowledge on like stuff around that period as well. But like my big focus is the antiquities. My first book, Elysian Fields, is Mortal Kombat with mythical heroes. Like that's what it is. So like that's where that all started. Was just me being a kid that grew up like hearing one of the oldest stories that we have on record in Western civilization. And being enthralled by that, wanting to, kids are playing, like friggin' Batman and Robin in the playground. I was like, who wants to be the Hector to my Achilles kind of deal? Which of course was nobody, because nobody wants to be Hector in that situation. But
but still, like they're heroic and superheroic type characters anyway, as it is. Like the ancient mythology or however you want to label it, religions and all that other fun stuff. Those were the original superheroes. Like, I mean, they really are. So like you got like Superman and all this stuff, but then if you go back further, you get you get Odin, you get Zeus, you get you get all these people like Thor. I mean, obviously Kirby. Big into mythology. That's why Thor came about, because he really loves Norse mythology. So,
and that's the beauty of comics, isn't it? They're the continuation of the mythological tradition, right? Like mythology at its root in every single culture they are stories where you create these characters that manifest cultural ideals that a culture is tied to and considers to be honorable, good, and just, right? Like, and that's where the stories of your heroes come from, is they're trying to embody these ideals. In Greek mythology, the thing that these heroes are trying to embody is this concept of arete, which is formed by these concepts of bis and metis. Of bis would be like battlefield bravery, like being an awesome force on the battlefield, and metis would be using your mind to overcome challenges and your wit. And so these Greek heroes would the goal was to achieve this perfect arete and bring both of these concepts of heroism together.
Right. Once again, if you're watching now and you just want to check out the campaign, link is pinned to the top and as well as in the description. So at what point then, like, because you're into history, like you study it, you love it, like it is fascinating stuff. I love it too, but I have a really bad memory, and so I like hearing about it and then I forget, so I'm bad with it. But what point did comic books come into play then? Were you into comics growing up, or was it something you got into a little older?
I got into that growing up too. I had two older brothers who were in high school while I was little. And so, they would, when watching shows with me, it'd be like Batman, the animated series, Spider-Man, stuff like that. And they had their comic book collection. And then, of course, because my brothers are in high school and they're immature assholes, and I love them to death, but I would get to watch things like HBO's Spawn, which a 5-year-old has no right,
but it's great.
So I grew up loving superheroes. I grew up through the late 90s, and so like you had that whole image boom as well. Yep. So like you had like all the really cool characters with really great designs were coming out, and they had their toys, and then my brothers would buy me the toys and stuff like that as an excuse to buy it for themselves, because That's how they do.
Yeah.
And then they like I would get to read their comic book collections. Like I got to read Maximum Carnage. I had like my brothers had like the full print run of that, and so
Nice.
like I've like that, all of that stuff just kind of blended, and these have been like two things that are like dominant things I really care about throughout my entire life.
What is one of your favorite story arcs that you can remember?
Oh man, my favorite story arc. So I'm a huge Captain America fan.
Ooh, nice.
So probably my favorite storyline of Captain America is it's a toss up between the Marvel Knights run, the New Deal, but where the art was done by John Cassidy.
Mm-hmm.
Phenomenal.
He's a great artist.
And then Brubaker is like the best Captain America writer that there ever is and or was, in my opinion. But like when Bucky was Captain America, I think it was the second or third storyline in it where him and Namor are trying to find Jim Hammond, who has been put into like this stasis tube and is being used to bioengineer chemical weapons. And so Bucky, Cap, and Namor are teaming up to find Jim Hammond, and these are all three members of the Invaders team from the 1940s.
Yep.
So like they're looking for their like fallen brother to like free him from this. It is phenomenal. It's great.
Nice.
A great
That's
story.
Cool. And obviously the writing is what really captured you growing up. I mean, I know you're because you're a writer, but I mean, what are some of your favorite artists that you've seen? Like, not just Cap, but like overall, like what are some of your top ones? Yeah.
Favorite artists. I mean, that also just depends. Like, I mean, I adore James O'Barr. The Crow was a massive,
good, dude.
Like, not even just from a writing standpoint, but like an artistic standpoint, was such a massive influence on the Embrace. Mm-hmm. Like that was my initial pitch. I was like, I want to make my own. Like this is the kind of story that I'm feeling right now. I want to make. I had recently reread his 10th anniversary special edition, which is like, if you have not read, he added in extra stuff that were not in the original book.
I have to check it out. Yeah.
Oh man, and it's gut wrenching. Like the stuff that he adds in there is gut wrenching, and it has a new ending that was not in the original. That's what I
tell people. That's what I tell people. It's like the movie is good, but the book is it's different so and more horrific and just it's insanely. It's just really good. People need to get the graphic novel and just look through it because, like, obviously the movie kind of had to. I mean, come on. You know the book, so you know some scenes in there just cannot make. Like, there's no way. There's just no way.
That's one of the reasons I am somewhat excited about the Crow reboot is because James O'Barr was heavily involved with the script, and from what I understand, they are trying to be pretty faithful to the original graphic novel in terms of the story. And I'm like,
that'll be good.
Please give me the train sequence. Please give me the train sequences.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, Brandon Lee did such a great, like, he did a great job as a Crow. It's kind of like Ledger and the Joker. Like, nailed it. Like, he nailed it. He captured what that character's, how he would perform in a real setting as being kind of an undead individual, but also love torn and love lost. So, captured it great. But like I said, what is Duck Bacon have a question here?
Oh no, he just said that the Crow was fired. He's just agreeing.
If there's any questions, leave them up, Angela. We'll get to them. I don't want to, but I love that one. Like James O'Barr, when I saw that, like I obviously had to get the graphic novel. I can't get the comics, but although I will one day, mark my words. But dude, when I saw that artwork, I was blown away. And I mean, I saw it in my teenage years. I wasn't too young or too old, so that hit me too. What are some of your other ones that you kind of like? I know Image was big, but do you have like maybe some?
So
some other...
I mean, obviously, like Todd McFarlane is like a huge
look at Dean's killing it in the Embrace, so you can kind of see maybe he might have his stuff might. What you were looking for as far as your influences as artists were. So I like Todd and
definitely that. I enjoy Greg Capullo a bit. Steve Epting is a phenomenal artist. I love it's either Steve or Carl Epting. I always mix it up, but he works with Brubaker on a lot of stuff.
Oh, okay.
He was his artist for the Captain America run, and he was also his artist for, I believe, Femme Fatale, which he did with Image. Like, phenomenal artist. Let's see.
You don't need to name a bunch of
stuff. I mean, Kentaro Miura on both writing and art is like an inspiration. Like, Berserk is visual literature. Like, I will fight that tooth and nail. Frank Frazetta, brilliant work.
Without a doubt.
You can't go wrong.
Can't go wrong, yeah. And it has that fantasy element, which kind of looks a little bit like the historical Greek type, or Roman.
Yeah, well, he has that very like pulp painting style that was very prominent in the late 20th century, like the mid to late 20th century, before
And you're big into the shadow also, right?
Oh, I am. Yeah, just a little bit. Like the Shadow was one of so the Shadow 1994 was my first exposure to the character. My dad and I used to watch that movie all the time. And
underrated movie.
It has so many problems, but this is what I will say. The bridge sequence at the beginning of that movie is, to this date, the best intro of a hero character in a film, period. It is bone-chillingly good, and it has aged incredibly, despite the fact that it was made in 1994. It still looks stunning.
Where the special effects, that's the one thing that really hurts that movie, actually, is the special effects, especially like that knife and stuff like that. But
the Purba is one thing, but like the way that they did the effects of his invisibility is like perfect, and
I love that. So good. Yeah. So that was your introduction to that character, and then you went back and you caught up on the books and the radio shows.
So the first thing that I got was I was really into the Shadow. So my dad, one year for my birthday, he got me the entire audio cassette collection of the radio show.
Oh wow, nice.
So I listened to all of the Shadow radio shows, and then I read the pulps. And then by the time I was in high school, Dynamite had acquired comic book publishing rights for him, and there was a solid 5 or 6 years where you were just getting hits on the Shadow. You got Matt Wagner did Shadow Year One, Shadow versus Grendel, and then you had
Matt Wagner, dude.
He's so good. That there's another great artist that is writer and artist. Yeah. Phenomenal. And then the Dynamite did their Masks run, which was okay. But it had Alex Ross doing the interiors on the book with all these famous pulp characters, and the Shadow was leading a pulp team. So I'm not gonna bitch, you know. You had Garth Ennis did his Shadow run with World on Fire, and
great writer.
Yeah, and he had a great art team on that book too. The Shadow was getting some serious hits, so I got to really enjoy some good Shadow books.
If you were to tackle the Shadow, how would you handle it?
So that's actually a funny story. The way that I got into comics, the thing that inspired me to actually write my first script was I wrote a treatment for a Shadow animated series.
Oh, cool!
And cool. I was like, all right, I'm going to figure out how to do this. And so, after failing to get a hold of Netflix or anything like that, I went and I called Dynamite because I knew they're the last people that I knew that had publishing rights. Mm-hmm. And so back then the contact information for their creative director of future projects was still on their website. And so I called and I left him a voicemail, and he got back to me.
Oh, wow.
And we talked about my Shadow treatment for about half an hour on the phone.
Oh, that's cool.
And at the end of the conversation, after I finished my pitch and everything, which was I wanted to make it like Death Note, where the main protagonist was this New York police officer who was investigating the Shadow and was trying to prevent him from starting a gang war. And the Shadow was in turn using this police officer to get him, like, because like the Shadow saves the police officer and like at the end of the first episode and makes him one of his agents, and so he's using this guy to get information about the gangs, and so they're in this kind of battle of wits. And at like the very end of the first season, the New York police officer finally gets enough evidence, but then it's too late because the Shadow starts the gang war and kills all the members of all the gangs.
Nice.
And then the police officer, who's been finally approved to make a task force by the police chief, goes to the police chief. The police chief has no idea what's going on, and gets told to meet up with a guy named Lamont Cranston, and then Lamont Cranston comes in and like there was like this whole thing where everybody was kind of playing each other, like it was a giant chess game, and the Shadow was at the center, was the centerpiece of it, and Lamont Cranston, Margot Lane, all these people are playing off one another as pieces on a chessboard, and at the very end, the Shadow wins all.
Nice. Well, of course.
Wow.
And so like we talked about that for about half an hour, and the guy said at the end of the call, "Is like, this is a great concept. Unfortunately, I know you said that this was an animated series pitch. We've never had any like film rights for the Shadow. That's not our ball game. Unfortunately, we just lost the print rights to the character last year. But if we had those rights still, I tell you what, we would pair you with one of our veteran writers, and you'd have an ongoing."
Nice.
And so like that was the moment where I was like, all right, well, clearly I have some creative talent and I could probably go and make some stories of my own.
Well, why didn't he just say that at the beginning?
Hey man,
he wanted to steal it. I'm just kidding.
I don't know, but like he did, to his credit, he gave me the contact information to the owners, which are Condé Nast, and he straight up was like, look, I'm going to be transparent with you. These guys are incredibly protective of that IP. We had hard times acquiring it, and we tried to keep it, and they just wouldn't let us do it. So, like best of luck to you. This sounds like a really great idea. I wish you nothing but the best. And I reached out to Condé Nast through the official channels that he gave me, and I got the polite corporate version of "Go fuck yourself."
Well, at least it was polite. What's Henry B?
It was. This IP is not up for sale or anything like that.
Right.
In the near future, was I think like one sentence from Condé Nast being like, no.
So it's not in public domain. Is that
public domain? It comes into, I believe, in 2027. But that's actually why I made Judex. Why we did Judex. Because Judex has a little bit of a tie-in with the Shadow.
I will say, when I first saw that, I thought the Shadow. When I saw the image,
that's actively what we were going for, or at least what I was going for.
Henry Bemis says that those early pulp heroes were not shy about killing people.
No, they were not.
Definitely not.
Time does not pay.
Yeah, I didn't get into the Shadow, and then like you said, I saw the movie, and I'm like, oh, that's really cool. And I didn't pick up the books, but I still love the character. I love the look and the lore of him, and I mean, he's an early Batman almost, So,
but he's the inspiration. In fact, Bob Kane straight up stole Walter B. Gibson's plots from the Shadow and used them as Batman stories.
See, I always thought Zorro was kind of a Batman.
Zorro is definitely an influence, and like in later versions of like when you go through and you look at like the people that make the creative backdrop of Batman's origin, the film that the Waynes were seeing the night that they're murdered is Douglas Fairbanks' The Mark of Zorro. So that's like the official thing in the lore is they were going to see Douglas Fairbanks' The Mark of Zorro in theaters, and that's when everything happened.
I love Batman. You'd think I would have known that. I didn't know that. No, that's cool though, man. And so that's what really launched you into comics then. Like how when was that? When was that like that you wanted
4 years ago. Four years ago. It was really recent.
So since then, you've hit the ground running. You're like, okay, I can't do the Shadow thing, but I have my own concepts. But your first book was Elysium Fields. So that's totally different The Shadow.
It is very different.
Which you got a top-notch artist on that. So tell us about Elysian Fields, how that came to be.
So Elysian Fields, as I said, growing up, my bedtime story was the Iliad. And so while other kids argued about, which of their favorite superheroes would win in a fight, my nerdy group of friends would argue, yes, about that stuff, but also important things like who would win in a wrestling match between Heracles and Beowulf, or who would win in a fight between Achilles and Gilgamesh, or who would win in this, or who would win in that. And like for years, that kind of just stuck in my head. And eventually I decided that I wanted to make a story of that. And Elysian Fields is kind of like the version that I initially produced is like the fourth rework of that. And so like that was what really drove that. And so you have this tournament in the underworld that happens every 1,000 years, where the respective gods of the dead of each mythology put together a team of champions from their respective mythologies and pit them against each other in the arena. And the winner of this tournament becomes the next Lord of the Underworld. And so the whole point is that Hades has, broken Achilles out of his paradise to be a part of his team to help him win this tournament. And so it's in the initial concept that I had is it was Achilles, Theseus, and Heracles were the characters in Elysian Fields that you see in the Zero issue and Pyramid Gambit and what have you. And so yeah, that's where it started. And our first campaign was very successful. We had close to 400 backers and made just shy of 9K.
Nice, man. For your first book, that's amazing.
What? Also, first book with a floppy.
Yeah, and wasn't Preston the artist?
No. I had Marcelo Oliveira Costa was doing all of my art on Elysian Fields first. You're thinking of the field where we have a cover that's been done by Preston Acevedo, and that is going to be a great book.
Still, I mean, the artwork in Elysian Fields is insanely good. Like, it's really good. So you got a great team on it. Yeah.
We do. And then so I did Pyramid Gambit was not the success that the first book was, which was very disheartening. And I almost like, and I've said this on a number of screens, I almost gave up on comics because of Pyramid Gambit. Like,
oh wow,
I had invested a lot of money into it because I had gone green on the first book. So I invested all of that money into the second book, and I invested more personal capital to one up the first campaign. It was a longer book. I brought in some very cool variant covers from really great artists. And I thought that I was doing everything right and getting the word out there, and I hadn't. And so we technically made close to the same amount as the first campaign, but we did it with less backers with more expensive perk tiers. And so I lost a lot of money. And so I was about ready to fold because I was starting the process of going through a divorce and
that can add to it too, though. Yeah, that whole real life world like stuff going on can add to the disheartening of the crowd.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And it was around this time that I had the idea for the Embrace, and so I was like, all right, I'm going to give this one last go of it. And the Embrace ended up being a smash hit. We got what was that, Angela?
I said so good. No, that's awesome. That better.
I just feel bad because I've been like blabbering, and there have been a few times where you've tried to talk, and I don't want to. But
it's all right. I'm used to it. Jason does it to me all the time, so it's no problem.
I do.
I'm just.
But so the Embrace was like, born out of this place of heartbreak, and it was a story about a father who had lost his son, and his son comes back to save his father and help them get justice for the son's murder. And like, it resonated with people, and we ended up raising I want to say 15K.
Yeah, it did really well, man.
It did very well.
the thing with the Embrace also is like Dean, amazing. He killed it. Like he definitely like, and he's an up and comer. And even dude, I've seen the stuff he's doing now, and it's
he's leveled up like crazy. The second book is going to be
so
on a whole other level.
Dean is so good, and then also it's kind of a superhero book. Like you got a darkness vibe to it, you got a Crow vibe to it. You know, it's a supernatural elements to it. People dig that. Like I'm not bashing Elysian Fields, but that's kind of a hard sell because it's historical, and some people in a comic format, it's like
the other thing is that as much as I liked Elysian Fields, like Elysian Fields from an even artistic standpoint, I had a good team. I have a good team on the Elysian Fields books, and the way that they've been produced so far, but like it feels very indie. Embrace felt like a step towards something that you could actually put on a shelf.
Embrace looked like an image book, book, or even Dark Horse or something like that.
Yeah,
like it looked like you said, it could be on a shelf in a comic shop, you know, and you can pick it up. Yeah,
100%. And then my next venture after the Embrace was SPQR's Bizarre Adventure.
I have it. Yeah.
And that
artwork's cool in it. I like it.
Oh, Kari is a beast. I love working with her. She did a great job on that book. It really made a book that had no right being as good as it was.
Was that like a little experiment that you were trying to do? Because it's like smaller format. It's kind of a funky little thing.
I'm gonna do more. I love JoJo's Bizarre Adventure so much, and like there was such a positive response to SPQR that I'm going to be doing more. Sadly, Kari, the shift between her natural style and doing the Iraqi imitation stuff was it's just too much for her. So she's like, I can't do the JoJo stuff anymore. I was like, that's fine. She's gotten since SPQR, her career has blown up. She's done a lot of work for Bad Bug, and I'm really happy to have helped put that spotlight on her so that she can get those career opportunities.
Yep.
And that's a great feeling. But like I completely understood. So I'm in the artist hunt for the person that's going to replace her. But I have a second story. So the first story was called Rubicon Invaders, which was all about Julius Caesar crossing the Rubicon and having a stand battle with Poppy the Great, modeled after the Dio Jotaro fight from the end of Stardust. The next book will be called Wet Dream and will be about Caligula fighting Neptune. So
nice.
That's awesome.
So what got you into the crowd? Like, how did you get introduced to crowdfunding then? Because this is kind of an odd scene, like Comicsgate, Indie Comics, the crowdfunding, going around to channels. Like, how are you introduced to that? Like, was it Shay? Because I know you're friends with Shay.
It kind of was. So, like, before I got into writing comics, I was an industry, like a freelance industry journalist, and I was working at the time. I was reviewing all sorts of comics for Up Your Geek. Which is a like an industry news blog. And my editor had me go and get into a whole bunch of these indie comic groups and see if there are any people that wanted reviews done. And so I had reviewed Dave Brink's Perfect 10.
Oh, nice.
And when I started to do stuff for Elysian Fields, Dave was like, hey, I just had a show with Red Valkyrie. You should check them out. They're really good. They have a great fan base, and they helped expand my base to a new audience. And so that's where I got into that. I also got in touch with like Luke Stone was one of the people I did reviews for, and Luke was like my like initial mentor going into this industry. He lettered Elysian Fields for like way cheaper than he would charge anybody else, but he was trying to help me get my feet on the ground. He put me in touch with my printer, everything. Like he helped so much. I did do we had a fantastic video interview, in fact, that I did because Up Your Geek was trying to build their YouTube platform. They're like, hey, do you know anybody that you could do an interview with? And Phil was one of the first people that I did a video interview with for Up Your Geek, and it was a great interview.
Phil's helped me out quite a lot. Phil's a great dude, man.
Yeah.
I really like him. He's helped us out at Unhinged and stuff like that. So yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
He's solid peeps, and the Lost Pages is a fantastic concept,
dude,
and it's one of those. Oh,
the books they put out are top notch. Like everything they do is quality. You can definitely back a Zaid Comics production and get a good book. Like
the thing that I love about Lost Pages is that it's a concept that like I kick myself for not being able to come up with. The idea of this hobo walking around with this ancient tome that's filled with all of these stories that are interconnected, and they're like the narrative DNA of each of these stories that connect all of them is the dingy, dirty streets of Chicago. And I'm like, this is fucking brilliant.
It's pretty brilliant. I gotta check to see. I gotta check to see if I backed book 3. I think I did, but I forget. I backed so many projects.
I hear you.
There's so many good ones coming out. Like we have this one coming out soon.
Yes, this
now
one.
Actually,
this one that I'm here for.
So tell us about Judex, man. Tell us about Judex.
Well, Judex, as I said earlier, and as has been established earlier, I'm a huge fan of the Shadow. And so one of my things that I do every so often is I go and I check on the status of him becoming public domain, because I'm sad like that. But anyways, when I was doing research, I found out about this character called Judex, who initially appeared in a silent film back in 1916. It was it was a multi serial story where Judex was this kind of small scale Edmond Dantes out to get revenge type character going after a corrupt banker. And when I looked at the design, I was like, this is almost perfect. And I looked at what he did, and he had these powers of hypnosis and everything like that. Cool. This is so close to being there. And so then as I did more research, I found out that in World War II, the chief French magazine that was putting out comics, they weren't doing Superman or Batman, but they were doing the Shadow. But they weren't calling it the Shadow. They were calling him Judex. They were straight up taking like the Walter B. Gibson stories and the comic strips from like the 1940s that were coming out in America on the Shadow, and they were printing them in France, but calling them Judex. And so it gave me this idea. What if I took this character and reworked him to be this Parisian cultural defender during the Nazi occupation?
Awesome.
And so I went in, and the first thing was getting the design right, because the initial design of Judex was good, but like he didn't have a mask or anything. He was just barefaced.
Oh, just barefaced. Okay, yeah.
Like he had the cloak and he had the hat, but like there were elements that were missing, and so I came up with the idea of giving him this mask and making it like a masquerade style mask, and implementing the facade of the scales of justice in it, right? And then for the gun, I was like, I want him to have this very ornate.
I was going to ask about that.
The ornate gun that really feels like it's something more. And so I came up with this idea for the widow, or Le Veuve. And so this gun is in its own right a character of it, in and of itself. It's made from the blade of the first guillotine, the one that executed.
Ooh, that's cool.
And it carries as many bullets as it needs for justice to be served.
I like that.
Oh,
So in theory, it doesn't run out of ammo, but it could.
Correct.
Yeah.
100%. It absolutely could. But like that's the whole point, is Judex is not out there to be like a wanton executioner. Judex means judge. He is there specifically because he is tapped into the pulse of Paris, and he's hearing it die. And he's asking his city, the people of his city who have allowed this occupation to happen, who have allowed these jackbooted thugs to stomp over the cultural light of Paris. And he's asking them, do you hear it too?
Mm-hmm.
And he's going out there and he's judging them for their actions and their inaction in the face of occupation.
Oh, that's really cool. I'm talking
And
about
he's
all these great books coming out. I only have so much money, man. Stop it,
I,
okay?
I can't help it. I have another one coming in November.
Knock it off.
I can't do it.
All right, if you must, I have to just wait that. But no, what I like is you are funded, so you're going to go in demand, obviously.
We're
probably,
going to go demand, but we also have fantastic value on our tier. You know that we have a tier on this book that it just gets you the book. You don't get any of the stretch goal items, but it's $10, no shipping in the domestic United States.
Oh, wow. Yeah, we're going to get to the tiers. We're going to get to the tiers. Who do you have as a team on this? What's the team on the book?
So for the principal art of the book, we have Fabrizio Ugolini, who's worked on a whole bunch of mainstream like magazines, everything. Most notably, he did some stuff for heavy metal.
Nice.
And Fabrizio brings this fantastic black and white
these are cool.
Side of the book, and that's what I really wanted to go for. Initially, we were looking at working with a different artist who was going to provide colors and everything, but when we shifted away from that direction, I really wanted to pay homage to his black and white roots, and on top of that, the black and white plays thematically into the morality tale of these Judex stories, and so that's what I really wanted to do.
I like this black and white. Yeah.
Oh man, Rich Ayala crushed that piece. It's so good. And it's got like a nice Phantom of the Opera feel to it as well, and like that's something. When you look at when you read Judex, you're going to see all of these cultural Easter eggs to French literature, every history, everything that you can imagine. As I said, Judex is a defender of the Parisian culture, and he lurks in this catacomb-like underbelly of Paris called the Court of Miracles, where he hosts all these relics of Parisian culture. We have this page where you get to see all these different things, and so you've got the sword of D'Artagnan, the letters of Cyrano de Bergerac, the music box from Phantom of the Opera, what was the other one? We had the Iron Mask, and then in another panel you get this beautiful upward shot of Judex, and there's a chandelier above him, and the chandelier that's above him is the chandelier from the Paris Opera House. So it's like,
cool. Like a little bit kind of like a V for Vendetta, like his lair, like has all these. Yeah, pretty dope. Where's Global Frequency? Are they the ones distributing it? Because I know they're a part of this.
They are my production and creative partners on the book. I created the story and wrote the initial draft of the script, and Neff came in and he helped me, really bring some more structure and tighten up the script. And then he's he's the producer, and it's been a tremendous partnership.
Neff.
And there's that page I was talking about. So if you scroll up a little bit, there's the sword of D'Artagnan in that first panel.
That's pretty cool.
Right here. And then the second one is the love letters of Cyrano de Bergerac. Then you've got the Iron Mask, and then you've got the music box.
That's so cool.
Yeah, that's really awesome.
This art is sick. Are you still looking like trading cards or anything like that? Do you have all those, or because if you're looking for artists, I think Luke, Death Metal Hero, I think he would do a great job with this character. So
I think so too. That is something that we'd want to ask Neff, because I don't know. I know that we're doing this Indiegogo, and then I believe we might be doing a Kickstarter as well. I don't know the exact plan.
I say that because Luke did a Wraith of God piece.
He did an Embrace piece recently that was fantastic.
Yeah, Luke is really good, and honestly, I think
he's improving like crazy. Yeah,
I think he would do really well with this character. So even for like a trading card or cover, he would love a cover. But yeah, I think hit him up, man. If you guys, if Neff wants to do something else, like a trading, like a sticker.
I'll definitely broach the topic with Neff.
Yeah, because he would kill it with this. Yeah. So let's. So you got. Great team of artists and Neff and Global Frequency. They know their stuff. Mavericks was dope. So they definitely know what they're doing. They know how to build and make a campaign for sure. So, and like I said, I mean, it shows. It's only been what 3 days, 4 days, and you're already at
and
almost
we've
7K.
accomplished this even with Indiegogo shadow banning us. So
you're already shadow banned. Hey,
No.
that's how you know you're CG. All right,
We made it. Congrats.
It's been very frustrating, but yes,
this is where like these streams come in handy, and also like the chat and people watching on Facebook and whatnot. Share out the campaign. That way it gets eyes on it. Even if like you're the only one that likes comics or art, you might share it out, and one of your friends, one out of like your 230 friends on Facebook, one of them might be like, oh, I like comics too, and they might back it. So every little bit helps, because these campaigns are getting shadow banned, and it's going to get to the point where we have to go to either, there's a site called Fund My Comic that Luke Stone has that doesn't shadow ban, or we also have to like make our own websites almost and sell them ourselves.
And that's definitely
so word of mouth is huge. So please, people, share out the campaign, share out this stream. That way they can get to know Odin as well, and be like, he's a cool dude. So let's get to the tiers.
Let's talk about the tiers.
And I'm blind as all get out, so you're gonna have to go over the tiers.
I got you. So our featured tier for $50 US is called Fraternité.
Could you make it more complicated to pronounce?
Yes, of course. because like the whole thing is our like, as I said, Judex is like this embodiment of Parisian culture. Right. Applied everything to like the French Revolution specifically. So like the tiers are specifically named for Liberté, Fraternité, Égalité, which were the themes, like those are the thematic, the rallying cry of the revolution.
Oh, that's cool.
Liberty, equality, brotherhood, or fraternity.
Nice. I mean,
so for our featured tier of Fraternité for 50 USD, you get the Judex 1 main cover, you get the La Marianne coin with case. You get all unlocked stretch goals. You get the Erwin J. Rosa variant, which is an homage to an Alex Ross shadow cover. You get a Russ Leach variant, which is glow in the dark and has a spot gloss black on black Eiffel Tower in the back.
I will say that so far, hold on, I don't mean to interrupt, but so far just now, this is a campaign you spared no expense on, because you just named some great talent right there.
Yeah.
Like with both of those, so go ahead.
We're not even done yet.
Yeah, we're not even done. That's just
we have the Black Terror crossover comic, which is written by Von Klaus and is done by his art team for Black Terror.
What?
We've got.
I gotta back this tier.
What is happening?
And you get a Black Terror crossover metal print of the cover that they did, and then you get a glow in the dark mini print of Rich Ayala's art. And so that's for 50.
That is an insane deal.
I'm getting that.
That's a crazy deal, man.
That's good.
That's just we can stop pitching right there. Everybody needs to back that.
This has been an incredibly popular tier. There are 30 people that have backed it.
Yeah, well, they should, because that's like I always say, the featured tier is there because it's the biggest bang for your buck. It's not. It's not always the most expensive one, but usually it's like, hey, you get a lot of cool stuff at a great price, and you just named off some heavy hitters right there. So and a lot of content. So great tier. But we'll keep going.
We'll keep going. So the first $10 tier is the digital download, and this actually has a fantastic perk with it. So we've limited this to 50 because not only do you get the Judex PDF, you get a free 3-month paid subscription to Global Comics.
Oh wow, that's cool.
So like Neff worked that out with the Global Comics CEO before we went live and everything. So what will happen is when we fulfill your Judex PDF, every person will each be sent an individual code that they type into the Global Comics website, and it gets you 3 free months on their platform.
That's really cool, man. Yeah, usually that PDF is like there, so you get a little bonus action. So nice.
Yeah,
I like that.
Then we have the El Guapo the El Guapo tier, which is you get none of the stretch goals, you just get the book.
I like that.
And that's $10. And in the United States, you would pay no shipping costs
I
additional
like
to that.
that. I really think more IPs have to have this kind of a tier because not everybody wants the tchotchkes. They just want to read the book, look at the artwork, have a fun story, and call
That
it
is
Bobby
correct,
Noble.
Art and Times. It is a 12-page
What's up,
crossover.
Ryan? What's up, Ryan? Yeah, I like that. I like that you have a tier that's just the book. It's cool.
Yep. Then our base tier, the Liberté tier, is $20, and that gets you the Judex 1 main cover, the Lamahian coin with the case, all unlocked stretch goals, and glow-in-the-dark mini print for MICHAEL.
You get a lot right there in general, and that's just the you got a great
So then for
tiers.
Egalité, you get obviously the main book and the coin and the glow-in-the-dark print, but then you can choose between either the Erwin J. Rosa variant or the Russ Leach variant.
Ooh, I like that. Nice. Get it. Now, are there add-ons? I mean, before we go any further,
Fairly certain there are. I did not personally back that tier when I backed because there was an item that was on here that I was like, I'm going to own this.
Wait a minute, you wrote the thing. What do you mean you have to back it? Don't you get?
What is happening?
I get my complimentary books and everything, but I don't get the mask. And
okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Like,
in case anybody's wondering, I did show it off
okay.
earlier. It's down here. Where is it?
Can you wear the mask? That's. I
yes,
think might be
it's a fully cos. Okay. If you guys watched Shay's show last night, Neff was wearing the mask. It is a fully functional cosplay mask.
Yeah, I caught a couple.
Awesome.
Yeah. Nice. So that's why. Okay, so that's why you bet you don't get. Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
All right.
Like. If I could have, I would have backed that and the gun, but I don't have like $800 to drop.
But
because
it's good to have that kind of a tier. So
yes, it is, and this is such an incredible. The gun is fully actionable. It is a 3D printed gun that actually you can cock it back, you can spin the bullet wheel, everything works outside of actually being able to fire it.
Oh.
But it's 3D printed. It's a cosplay prop, but it is super high end. It's absolutely gorgeous. And it comes in a wooden case with velvet lining and the ability to hang it on your wall.
That looks cool. What comes with the $300 tier here?
The Face of Justice, which is the mask.
Okay.
That also
in the mask.
Yeah, well, it comes with a copy of the book, the coin, all unlocked stretch goals, the glow-in-the-dark mini print, and the mask. But what you can also do is you can add on the Fraternité tier, which is like $50. You can add that on for $15.
Oh, wow.
And you don't pay shipping.
I mean, the way I see it, you're hooking them up because that's a pretty. If you got that's a big tier. So you're helping them out by being like, hey, you can still get the other stuff.
Well, I mean, what I'm saying is the big tier in general, no shipping.
You guys are crazy. All right.
Yeah.
So that's U.S. only, right?
I think it might even be international. I don't know. They were able to get down our international rates super heavy.
Crazy. All right, so let's go. Let's keep going.
Bemis wants to know if he can 3D print a firing pin.
No. I'm not going to answer that. So
yes.
we will carry on.
Ask that question in DMs, I guess.
The last thing I need is for somebody to do that, and then we get a news story. Some idiot used a 3D printed model of a Judex campaign gun after making a botched firing pin, and I'm gonna be like, oh.
Well, that's not on you, really, but for disclaimer purposes, you can't do that. Let's just put it that way.
Well, the thing is, though, too, you might actually, with the controversy, you probably will sell more books. So in the end, it may work out for you.
I'm not going to invite that upon myself.
Not confirm or denying.
No, that's fine. That's fine. No, we don't want to.
Not you, just for the record.
Just for the record.
Yes.
Of course. But yeah, so that's the Hand of Justice, which is the gun. And so, again, you get the gun, the book, the coin, the stretch goal items.
Nice.
And then this last one is pretty special, and 2 of 3 of these have already been claimed. The full Judex. You will get the gun, you will get the mask, you will get everything in a crossover, you name it. And Kim and Neff will be making you a Judex cape. You will be giving them your
That's
measurements,
cool.
and you're getting a hand-tailored Judex cape with the lining that has been made up from custom materials. So
yeah, I can't afford that, but that's dope.
Yeah, I know. It's super cool, and there's only one of those left.
Well, it's good to limit that kind of a thing.
Yeah.
You know, it makes it a specialty item, and those kind of high tiers, it's not bad to do. But really cool, man. I mean, you guys got.
Wow.
You guys definitely have great tiers, you know, and something for everybody. Like even if you can't, like even $10 with free shipping. Like so, if you can't afford, or what was it, the basically the book for free shipping. I mean, you can't afford too much. That's really cost effective.
Yeah,
like it really is. You got
100%. And there are a lot of people who are like, yeah, I don't need all the other stuff too. Like
But,
you know.
No, sorry to interrupt you, man.
No, you're all good, dude. Go on ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, but to me, this featured tier is just it knocks it out of the park.
Yeah.
It really.
And that's how it should be. Your featured tier should be the best bang for your buck, and it should be something that people immediately go, "Oh man, $50 for all of that." Okay.
Yeah. and like I said, top talent. Like you guys have top talent on this campaign, so spare no expense. Yeah, dope, man. Everybody, like I said, pin to the top of the chat. It's in the link to the descriptions below, as well as all of Odin's information. Well, not all of it, but majority of Odin's information.
So the Art and Times of J. Ryan has asked me how many pages is the main book. The main book has 30 pages of story interior.
Nice. And well, then also you have the Vaughn team and their
they've done a crossover book that you can get through the Fraternité tier, and that is a 12-page story.
Yeah, so you're getting a good amount of pages and artwork and story for your money's worth. So yeah, you can add that on, right? If you back just the basic one.
Yes, you can. I believe you can add that on.
Okay. Yeah. Sweet, man. Nice. Everybody, go check out Judex. It's pinned all over the place in this.
Yeah.
Is there any questions in the chat, Angela? We're at the top of the hour.
Not really any massive questions.
Angela, do you have any questions? Because we've talked over you all.
I'm like totally nerding out right now. I love France. Like I'm learning. Actually, I'm teaching myself French again. I took it in high school, and just French history.
Nice.
My favorite. I read Victor Hugo, Les Miserables. It's one of my favorite books. So yeah, you totally got me. Especially that
you will be happy to know that I use some Hugo character names in the book.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
look at you.
You got me. Okay.
You got Angela with that. You got me with the art. So yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
Very
Angela.
cool. So no, that's all. Yeah. No, I'm really excited, and I will when I can. I will definitely be backing it. So.
Well, one last question for you, Agedin, as people like to call you.
Yes.
If you could work with any artist, living or dead, on a project, who would it be?
You son of a bitch. Okay. Dead Jack Kirby.
Ooh.
Because I feel like if I could work on Jack Kirby with something mythology related, blow people's minds.
Dude, it would blow my mind. I'm a huge Kirby fan.
Yeah. So dead Jack Kirby, alive Jorge Jimenez.
Ooh, nice.
I would like either him or Sean Gordon Murphy. Like those two, I would be equally happy.
I don't blame you, man. Yeah, definitely. See, that's why I like asking it. You get very different, and actually, you're the first person to say Kirby, also. So
that's weird. He's the king.
He's the king, but it makes sense because Kirby's huge into mythology. So yeah. Well, Angela, you were gonna ask.
Anyway, I just wanted to confirm too. Your channel, it's 9 Realms Publishing. Is that your channel?
Mm-hmm. That is my channel. Please ignore the very immature profile name. It was created by a friend of mine in high school, and I did not realize that it would be an important thing in my future, and I'm stuck with
honestly,
it. 100 subscribers.
I was kind of impressed by it, so that shows my lack of understanding of what 9 Realms is. But
the URL I think has something very immature in it. I can't recall. Yeah. Yeah, please
You can-
please ignore that.
You should be able to change the URL one time.
Yeah, once you hit a certain subscriber count, which
100.
I haven't hit yet.
It's 100.
Do I have 100? I don't think I do.
I thought you had over 200. Don't you?
Oh, do I?
I don't know. I haven't pinned to the.
Yeah.
I should. Then I got to figure that out. Then I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, there you go, man. We figured something out. Yeah, because I was gonna say I could have sworn you over 200.
Hey,
Yeah.
man.
My nephew also, he loves history, so I'm gonna get him to subscribe to the channel. So.
Just
Nice.
did a stream on Agamemnon the other night. So fun
Nice. Yeah. Follow Odin on his Twitter as well. That's pinned down there, as well as his YouTube. Check out. He's got some great streams. You also once in a while you actually promote people. So it's a great channel. I like it a lot. I don't get to watch all the time, but like I said, the episodes are like an hour, so you can. Even if you want to be like, hey, I only have a half hour, put it at 2 times speed. But thanks for coming on, man. I know this was last. I'm sorry, Angela. What?
Oh, Devil Flyer subscribed. He said that earlier. That he
Nice. Yeah. Hell, Rex, man. Rex is a good dude. Yeah, I know it was last minute, Odin, so I really appreciate it.
It was a pleasure, and as I said, it was a nice palate cleanser after like the hopelessness that was the last.
It was a good time. Well, I'm gonna do it again with Global Frequency for the second 30. I usually just like have the one time, but you got Global Frequency on too. I love those guys, so I'd love to have them on and talk to them. And you're welcome to come back as well if you want. So,
my pleasure.
So everybody, go back, Judix, do it. Subscribe to Odin. Oh, back for RG, by the way. Voodoo Gods of Magic. Blah blah blah. So Angela, that's it. We're done. Odin, we're done. Everybody have a great one. Hail the chat.
And Maromi. Yep. Good to see y'all. Thanks for coming.
Later.
Long day kill